Hey, thanks for checking out the video. If you all like it, please like and subscribe, and hope you all enjoy it. Have a great rest of the day. We are doing a cooking demo, and the recipe that we will be making today, with popular request. I know I had a few people reach out to me the past couple weeks in regards to my onion pie that I make every so often, which it seems like I make more and more often than I'd like to admit. Mostly just because everyone just requests it. So I guess that's a good thing. So I am going to be demonstrating that. I do have an onion pie recipe that I've previously posted on a number of occasions. So we will be using these fresh ingredients right here that I had so kindly bought from the store, or from my farm that I harvested. I'm sorry, from my farm out there, and that my garden. I have cut up 2 potatoes right here, and then I have, of course, I have a little extra on the seasoning. Unfortunately, I do not have mace, as I have run out of it at this point, but I'm hoping to be able to get some more within the next couple weeks. Then of course I have 2 onions as well, and then I have 4 hard-boiled eggs, and that's what I have so far. And then of course I had roasted a chicken, and I had made some chicken broth last night. So I have some chicken broth that I'm going to sparingly use on my onion pie here, and in which I will then we'll kind of sprinkle a little bit on there, not too much though, but then I will of course put it on the fire and let it go. Now this is the pan that I have right here. I'm gonna kind of step outside a little bit to kind of give you a better idea of what it looks like. So it's kind of more of like a very steep bowl per se. Some will say that you can use this, well, some will say that this is more so for meat pies, but you can really use it for any kind of pie you want, to be honest with you. Now this piece right here is called redware, and I was able to acquire this at by no means were they sponsoring me, but I acquired this piece right here at Seagrove, in Seagrove actually, called gosh, it's like Woods. Oh gosh, well, I'll have to post a link in the bio or the description for the video, but anyways, check it out. By all means, stop by there and order their stuff. And last I checked, I think she mentioned that she'd be willing to ship, but she was very, very although it was an unfavorable situation. And also, as far as one more ingredient that I don't have displayed yet, is an apple. And the recipe calls for 1 apple, and it does call for salt and pepper. And the other ingredient that I have here is, oh gosh, I think it's mace. No, not mace. No, I don't have mace, but it's I'll have to post other ingredients in there as well. But anyways, let's get the party started. So now, once you get the ingredients together and chopped up, and here is the apple, the 1 single apple that I have right here, that I'm using. You proceed to, and excuse the plates, I just finished rolling out my dough for the pie. But anyways, once you get your ingredients together and chopped up, at this point you can then start making your pie. Of course, don't forget to add butter to the base of it, and to the pie crust on the bottom. You don't want that to burn, or whatever, you know, and kind of stick to things or whatever. But then you kind of just start layering it Right now I'm throwing in a little bit of apples right now. As far as how to chop up these things, the recipe calls you to thinly slice everything. Personally, I just chop it. I find that it just cooks better that way and just more evenly. I guess it's all depending on how you interpret it. But anyways, that's part of it. So now let's get a few more pieces of apple and some onion and kind of just start putting some of the onion here. As far as the pie crust goes, as to how to do it, there are some recipes that you can look up. Hannah Glass, you know, I'm sure has some in her book. I think she does. But anyways, well, there's recipes that you can get that would be historically accurate, depending on how you want to go about it. But anyways, let me get back to this and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now once you've kind of layered each of the ingredients, which you would have had to have put 2 potatoes, 2 onions, 1 apple, cord. You don't want to use the core, you want to get that out and not include that. Now you may have some left over depending on the size of your pan. Obviously you might have room, depending on how big your pan is, you might have enough to maybe make a small extra one. So maybe account for that just in case. Depending on, yeah, as I said, depending on the size of your pan. I do have some leftover onions. It's not as much as it looks. I do have some leftover potatoes and a little bit of apple and a little bit of eggs left over. But as I said, it may be enough for an extra one, and I'm going to do that later. And of course, I just added a little bit of that chicken broth that I mentioned earlier. Oh yes, and that ingredient that I talked about, nutmeg. You have to add a little bit of nutmeg to each of the layers as needed. You know, to kind of spice it up a little bit. You know, and you don't want to add too much. Personally, it calls for like a 1.5 teaspoons of this and 1.5 teaspoons of that and all that sorts. But I personally kind of just, you know, I mean, obviously I stick to the recipe. But for those that may not like things that are as salty or don't want things to have as much salt or pepper or nutmeg in there, that's fine. You can always add a little bit less to taste. But that's totally up to you. So that's pretty much that. Now we're still waiting on my Dutch oven to heat up a little bit. So we'll be waiting for a few more minutes. So far it's been sitting for about 30 minutes right now, and we're just waiting for it to kind of warm up a little bit. Now anyways, on a side note, not to brag, but several weeks ago I had the pleasure of being in a historic cooking contest, and in which I although I placed 3rd, I had won I had done a recipe that I had not done before, so very little experience with it, although I have seen it done by other people. So I used what I did know about puddings, historic pudding. We used cherries for the pudding, in which we kind of encased the dough, or used the dough to kind of wrap around the cherries and stuff, and added other ingredients. We mixed the butter into the crust and all that sorts. But anyways, for 3rd place, this is the prize that I won. It's a lid lifter, for those that may want to know. Use it to kind of lift up lids, and I'll show you that a little bit later. But anyways, pretty darn cool. So definitely pretty excited for the rest of the day. And I'll right now I'm gonna put the crust that I had made for the top of the pie onto the pie now, and by then the Dutch oven will be ready and heated up, and then we'll be on our way. Anyways, now we are on to we're close to the final stages of the pie. I have applied the pie crust to the top of the pie, in which now at this point I just like to kind of make sure that it's all firm and kind of close to the pie and stuff and kind of sealed in. Now make note that you are going to want to put some slits in the pie crust on top, you know, just to kind of air things out a little bit though, and then do it how you choose. It's all personal preference. I'm sure some people are cringing right now as I'm doing this, but that's okay. There are multiple ways to do it, so long as you have holes in the top of the pie. Plus I think that it kind of makes it look a little nicer too. Anyways, so that's the spiel. And then once you've done that, now all you have to do now is just add the pie to the Dutch oven, and I'll do that in just a few minutes. Now we are on to the cooking stage. Now what you are normally supposed to do is put the Dutch oven on the ground of the hearth, on the floor of the hearth, and put hot coals under it. But I chose to just hang the Dutch oven, and I still applied hot coals to the lid, to the top there, as you can see. I just was a little different, so excuse me for that, for those that this may offend. But this way still works. Regardless, it still works just as well. So now it's cooking right now, so we'll check it out when it's done. And now this is the final result of the onion pie right here. Let's cut into it in just a minute. Now let's try the pie and see how it tastes. Oh, dang. Sometimes it can be a little iffy sometimes, but pretty excited. So this is the result of the onion pie.